What's up, guys? Gaonan here, and welcome to another episode of Drafting with Masters. Today, my guest is Magikarp from Team Rankstar, and I see him as the face of Team Rankstar, and he's heavily involved in the tournament scene of Eternal. I'm really excited to have him today because he's someone who is recognized within the Eternal community. Magikarp, do you want to give a little bit of background about yourself?
My name is Mitch Magikarp. I play for Team Rankstar. I play in both the Eternal Tournament Series and the Eternal Community League. Basically, that's about it. I have a background in Magic the Gathering, and one thing people don't really know about me is that my first love was drafting and limited, and so that was, a big background of mine.
Yeah, that's really cool. I remember when the top 100 qualifier announcement was made by Direwolf, and I remember seeing on Twitter that you had made top 100 in both ladders the first month, which was super impressive. So I've been keeping my eye on you for a while as far as someone to have on the show. So I'm super excited to have you today, and it's cool that you have that background in Magic. One question is, do you think that translated pretty easily over to Eternal, or what was different about coming from a Magic background into Eternal and adapting to a different draft environment?
I think the biggest adaptation you have to have from Magic to Eternal is that the common theories behind deck building and curve building vary wildly in Eternal based on the format and based on the state of how the games play out. In Magic the Gathering format, it's a little easier to figure out, oh, I need 4 2-drops. Oh, I need, 6 3-drops. Oh, I need, the curve concepts are very weird in Eternal, and it's something that you have to get used to if you're trying to translate over to this game.
Well, I'm excited for today, and if you're ready, let's get into a draft.
Yeah, sounds good.
For me, there's some premium removal in this pack with Jack's Choice and Vanquish. I would say premium unit in Rooftop Vigilante. Granite Acolyte is solid as well, and then good trick with Finest Hour. I'm honestly probably just considering Jack's Choice Vanquish or Rooftop Vigilante. Nice thing about Vigilante is it does have the Gunslinger tribe on there as well, which is pretty sweet. But what are your thoughts in this pack?
I would say that there are 6 potential very, very high picks in this pack. I would include Slope Sergeant to the ones that you chose as well.
Yeah.
I feel like Yetis is extremely powerful.
Yes.
If you can get the cards, it's kind of like if you get a couple Yetis and then they dry up, you're left with a really weird deck.
Mm-hmm.
I err on the side of premium removal a lot, and I really like single faction colors early on. It kind of leaves our options a little more open. So I think if I was sitting on my couch drafting, I would probably take Vanquish, but I could see an argument for Rooftop because the Gunslinger tribe is so powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, the other thing about Rooftop too is just 2/3 flying Warcry is hard to deal with. Like if this comes out on turn 3, your opponent is going to have a pretty hard time finding an answer to this for a while, which means you'll probably get a couple of Warcries off. And the rest of the text on the card is not irrelevant either. Rooftop Vigilante mixed with Trusty Revolver is pretty nasty combo. It's like a micro synergy, I guess is what I would call it. But I feel like there's a lot of opportunity. The BREAD acronym is always what I try and think about when I'm evaluating cards. Would I consider Rooftop Vigilante a bomb? I think so.
Yes, it's a bomb uncommon, I think.
Yeah. So I think I'm leaning there, but I do agree with you. I normally like to stay pretty open early on and not commit to one thing or the other, but I feel like Vigilante is strong enough that it's worth taking here. Especially the other thing about these new curated packs we have is that there's a lot more shadow removal in them now too. Between Extinguish and Death Strike, they're both back in the format. So
yeah, that's true.
I think that if you're in Argenport, hopefully we continue to see good Argenport cards. We'll find other removal and not be so upset about passing up the Vanquish.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Rooftop is a card that can just win the game on its own,
Yeah.
which is always nice to have.
Yep. Yeah. Cool. So we'll start there and see what happens.
Cool.
They didn't want to take Spirit of Resistance? What are you seeing in this pack?
So the cards that jump out at me are the left right target caller, Dark Return, Yeti Snowslinger, Scale Tender are all. The Scale Tender is very synergistic, so is Yeti Snowslinger. I think the left right target caller, and then Valkyrie Militant's also a solid 4-drop. It's not great, but it can win games.
Right. Yeah, I think I'm looking at similar cards here. I would probably just highlight the target caller, the Dark Return, and the Snow Slinger. Like you said about the Scale Tender, it's relying on synergy, and I feel like I would rather have the dinos before I'm picking Scale Tender, but maybe that's not always an option. Snow Slinger, I like Snow Slinger. I don't even it is great in the Yeti deck, but it's even good not in the Yeti deck. When I first saw this format, I thought there was going to be like the old Feln Tempo from like set 1 when you would have, the different infiltrate guys and Jarl's Frost Skin and all these ways to get in. And I haven't had a chance to draft that deck yet or see that deck come together really. But what I'm really getting at is that I don't think Snow Slinger is like pulling us enough to get away from Rooftop Vigilante. So I would probably stick towards Target Caller or Dark Return. And it's kind of a hard choice between those two. I think I would lean towards Target Caller, but it is Shadow, which is hard to hit early.
Yeah, I would also lean towards Target Caller just because I highly value 2-drops, but the double shadow, it makes it so that it's sometimes not a 2-drop, which is kind of awkward.
Right. Yeah, I think I'm willing to take it here. I feel like you still see Dark Returns come through pretty late, so I don't think I'm upset about passing Dark Return for Target Caller, so I think I'll pick that up here.
Wow.
This is a good pack.
Yeah, it is. So the 3 that jump out at me immediately are the Glaive, the Entrapment, and Extinguish.
Mm-hmm.
There have been previous formats where people say that Entrapment is unplayable.
Yes.
I don't think this is one of them.
Yeah.
Mostly because with how people throw a bunch of weapons on their units nowadays, Entrapment can really get you a good 2-for-1 or even a 3-for-1 sometimes.
Yeah.
I think Glaive is a bomb, and I also think Extinguish is a bomb as well.
Yeah. I really want to take Glaive, but the voice in the back of my head is basically saying, you just picked a double shadow card, now you're going to pick a double justice card on 3, and you could just have, some solid removal instead. I'm mostly between Glaive and Extinguish. I value Extinguish higher than I value Entrapment just because it's more proactive.
Yeah, I agree. The aggro player in me says Glaive.
Right.
But the drafter in me says Extinguish. I will say that Glaive has always been a good card, but in this format, it is better than it has been because of all the renown mechanics nowadays.
Yeah. The other thing about Glaive is if you're thinking ahead to packs 2 and 3, there are other potential Empower synergies that you can go down in this Argenport path. So that's not to be, I guess, missed either.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to take the Glaive.
Okay.
This looks like a easy Seek Power to me.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think anything else is jumping out at us hey, there are Yetis there, but they're not the Yetis you want, so.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think it's easy Seek Power.
Cool. Okay.
Oh, hi.
We don't regret our choices at all.
I guess we'll take this 10 out of 10 removal spell.
You mean you don't want nerfed Miner's Canary? Poor Canary. Yeah, no, Death Strike is easy here. Just because this is a easy pick, I just want to talk about some of the other cards in here. How do you feel about Heroic Bravo? Have you used it in Gunslingers to good effect? Or do you think it's too expensive, comes online too late? What's your experience with it?
So it's probably my favorite card in the format. I drafted 4 the other day. I cut 1. I didn't want to cut it, but I cut 1.
That's
and
fine.
It was one of my 2-7 wins was with a Stone Scar Gunslingers deck, and it was 3 heroic bravos. They're very, very
Nice.
good.
Yeah, no, I just love the versatility of them. The fact that you can hit an enemy unit, you can hit their face with it. Like it's very nice, and I feel like there's really some nice potential to get this guy online pretty early, take care of their flyers in the process too, which I feel like is one of the best ways to win in the format right now. So yeah, I really like this card as well. I think I also had a draft with 3 of them in there that I think I got 6 wins with. Yeah, so I love that card too.
Yeah, it's a turn 4 play on occasion in
Hmm.
the Stones card deck. So,
Wow.
okay. So, what do you think of Gun Rustler? Just to discuss this card.
Yeah, I mean, so we mentioned earlier how entrapment is better in this format because there's so much quote unquote Voltroning going on, and Gun Rustler deals with that really well. Do I think it's worth paying 6 to do? Probably not. I don't know. I haven't had enough experience with it in this format. I don't remember playing it back in set 3 very much, so there are some decks like think about a sentinel deck where there aren't a lot of weapons out there and you
Yeah.
have a 6 cost 4/2 and he does nothing and it's
Yeah.
just really frustrating. Like yeah, it's good in the extend matchup or something like that, but or basically any fire based matchup this guy can get some value, but
Mhm.
outside of that it feels bad. So I think I would actively avoid this card personally.
Yeah, I agree. I've tried it in some decks, and it has never stolen anything. And I'm like, I just wanted to steal one thing.
Right. Oh
But
man.
I wanted to point that out because I've seen people play it before, and I don't know. I don't think it's playable.
Yeah. No, I don't
So
I don't think it really is either. So, yeah, for me, I think we're both in agreement because it's another easy pick as far as
yeah,
extinguish here.
yeah, I agree.
It's nice when I say things and then they just happen, like this shadow removal thing is just falling into our lap, so I like
That
that.
glaive pick was sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, not regretting Glaive at all. Ooh. I I really like I think this is one of the best gunslinger payoffs there is.
I agree. I agree fully. In conjunction with if it gets quick draw from target collar, it's pretty funny too because it's basically unblockable.
Ooh, yeah, nice. Make your own little Ashara. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Also noteworthy that Stone Scarbaner is here. I mean, it doesn't say anything in particular, but that's good for us if we're headed in this, gunslinger direction because you often end up in the wind chest
yep.
trifaction, I guess.
Hmm.
How do you feel about Blood Beetle?
So the only times I've ever played Blood Beetle is when I was overloaded on 2-drop removal,
Mm.
and that would include the primal spell that gives a unit +2 health and deals 2 to a unit.
Oh, Perry, yeah.
Uh, yeah, things like that.
Hmm.
I don't add it to very many of my decks,
Yeah.
but if I have a really, really tempo-y deck with lots of like bounce or removal, and or if you throw an equipment on it or an attachment on it on like turn 2, like it can get there.
Yeah.
So it's not unplayable. I don't really like it though.
Yeah. Probably just another final shot rioter here. They
Yeah, I
just lock
agree.
up the ground so well. I mean,
Yeah,
it's like the Shadow Court Mage, basically, that is even better if you have the gunslinger synergies going on. So,
yeah. I don't want to curse our draft, but this is going very, very well.
yeah. Explore Gunslinger. No,
Oh
I
yeah,
hate that card.
yeah,
I think I would just take Watchwing here, but I guess Inspire Obedience is probably about the same place.
yeah. It's occasionally the last. Both of those cards are occasionally the last card you would play in your deck.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I watched a Hall of Fame Magic player draft Eternal, and he took Inspire Obedience. So
Hmm.
I kind of value it because he was using it, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he was correct in using it. I agree that they're both very low on the totem pole of things you want in your deck.
Yeah. I think just given the amount of removal we have so far, this is less likely to make it in our deck. I mean, I know it's super early and we're probably going to be
Yeah,
able to pick up enough units, but I think I'd rather just have a unit at this point.
I agree.
And it wears Gilded Glaive really nice.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay, another gunslinger. Sweet.
I will say that card, Longshot Marksman, I've taken like first, second pick before.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
getting this late is pretty good.
I mean, basically, we're like mono shadow right now with a Gilded Glaive Splash and Vigilante probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what comes our way in pack two. But yeah, I love this cycle of cards that has the ultimate pay six to buff them up into relevance late game. It's just super nice, and quick draw is a great keyword. So
Yep.
what? The exact two other cards that were in the last pack.
We've been seeing a lot of Sentinels.
Man, this pack is not for us. But I guess you just take Warlock's Brew.
Yeah, I agree. Direwolf Slasher I have played in a very aggressive deck, but I think Warlock's Brew is good enough removal to take.
Yeah.
For sure.
One thing I love about Warlock's Brew is that it's fast speed. It's just so nice. And it just deals with flyers really well. So I love that about it. But
Yep.
I have not played Slasher before. So were you in a super aggressive deck? Were you in like a Keratin Empower deck? Or in what scenario did you want to play
Yeah.
this card? Because a lot of times I just think, oh, I'm probably never going to get to Berserk this card, or if I do, I'm going to do it on turn 2 because I feel like then I'm never going to get this guy in other than that.
It was an Argenport good stuff deck with
Okay.
a bunch of Empower units. It included a Glaive, and it also included the 3-drop that plays your 1/1 Empower +2/+2, the green one. And then when you attack with 3 units, you play a power from your deck.
Well, the District Infantry is the card that it
Yeah.
makes. Seraph's Beacon.
Yep, Beacon. Beacon
Okay.
was the glue that held that deck together.
Yeah, that sounds cool and makes sense why you would play this card then. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Warlock's Brew it is. I like Seeker.
I do like Seeker a lot. I also think Kozil Recruit is a fine card to just add in any curve.
Right.
Spotter was way better last format.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's still semi-playable, but I don't think it's as good as last format.
What's made it go down in your book in this new format?
There are just less ways to give it renown.
Okay, yeah.
And I think there's more ways to remove it, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just feel like, and I feel like the games are a little more, like time just goes way bigger, and you just get outclassed pretty quickly, and the double justice doesn't help either.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that.
Clunky card.
I agree. I think the thing that both these cards have going for it is the pledge keyword. It just helps smooth out your draws so nicely. I'm trying to think if there are any relics that you would actually get in these colors that could potentially, tip the favor in Heirloom Seeker. It is nice. It just has a big butt at the end of the day, too. So I think I'm kind of leaning towards it just because I like to short my 2 drops early. And you could go in a weird unsupported 3-faction deck if you got like Lethrai Hideaway or something like that, I guess.
Mm-hmm. That's true. There is one more argument. There's an argument for Lost Scroll as well, since we have a lot of 4 drops. You're able to kind of go from 2 to 4.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think Seeker is a fine enough card to take at this point.
Yeah. I would have a hard time playing Lost Scroll on 2 just because most of the time your opponent's developing their board. I guess, you're going right to 4, so it's not such a big deal. But yeah, I guess I've never really thought about playing too much ramp in draft, but that's a good thing to consider in the future.
Yeah. Looks like we have a relic, potentially.
Yeah. Do you value Curator's Spear more than Intimidator?
I think both are very good. I think the Empower mechanic in this format is extremely powerful.
Yeah.
Spear is just a nice... Sometimes you just play it on 2 and kill their 2-drop.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they have like a long shot marksman or something that can get out of hand, or a flyer.
Right.
There's an argument for both. I would probably lean towards Spear, but
yeah.
But what do you think?
I think I'm leaning more towards Intimidator, but I mean, if you can just get all your opponent's stuff out of the way like it looks like we can do right now, especially if we take another, we basically have 4 removal spells at this point if we take Spear, which is not a bad place to be. And I think you see a decent amount of Intimidators come through too. So I'm willing to take the Spear here. I think normally I would take Intimidator if I was on like autopilot, but I think you've convinced me to take Spear here.
Okay.
And cool thing about this card that I didn't really realize until all these silly rat decks started popping up in ranked is that the +1 on this is permanent. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I always thought it was just +1 if you have another relic and then it goes away, but it actually keeps it. So that's cool. Not that it really matters in draft, but somebody's little bit of knowledge for the day. Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow.
So
That's a very
take
good set of 3 cards.
do you take Wagoneer here? I mean, it's got one, it's a double pledge card. 2, it's got Empower on it, and 3, it's a Gunslinger. Like I feel like that's like the trifecta right there.
Yeah, I love Beacon, but Wagoneer, I've seen it do some disgusting things against me.
Yeah, normally I'm not very high on Wagoneer because I feel like there are a lot of ping effects in the format. Like, even just looking at our pool, we're seeing like, okay, Curator Spear takes it out, Warlock's Brew takes it out. But I still think, given where we are, that it makes sense to take here, given that I feel like Gunslinger is just enough to push it over the edge for me.
Yeah, and we don't really have like the Empower Argenport. We're leaning more towards the the Gunslinger Argenport build.
Cool. Do we want more removal? How have you felt about Eye for an Eye? Have you had any experience with it, or good or bad?
It's a fine removal spell. There's a lot of times where the second clause never gets activated.
Mm-hmm.
I think with our deck, where we're pretty low to the ground with Gunslingers, the clause isn't going, because we're paying 5 power to kill something, so we're wanting to kill something pretty big.
Right.
And that's the problem with the card.
Right.
I still think it's a fine card to take. I also think Spotter could be, a hedge pick in case we get a few more attachments or buff spells, because we now have the Wagoneer. Spotter creates 2 units, which is pretty nice.
Mm-hmm. Are you looking at Lost Scroll at all?
Not at this point. We've taken Seeker and Spear as 2 more 2-drops since we had discussed that, and I don't think it's needed at this point.
Cool. Yeah, sounds good. Let's take Spotter. I have not had much experience with Sadistic Glee. Is this a worthy top-end card in Argenport?
I don't believe so. Most likely it's never going to win you the game on the spot, unless you're playing like a deck with, maybe a deck with a bunch of tokens or scorpions or something that are kind of going up the ground, and then you play that late game and just, mill them out in one shot. With a 6 power 5/5 is pretty mediocre.
Right.
And I don't think its secondary ability is relevant enough, to
make
call
up for
it
that.
A good card.
Yeah. So then, are you looking at token here?
For sure.
Are you looking at fall short?
I think the token is very important in our deck, mostly because we have double justice and double shadow.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I don't like fall short very much. Do you have a different experience with this card, or how do you feel about it?
Some drafts I play one and it's just the all-star the whole time. Other drafts I play one and it's stuck in my hand the whole game and I lose.
Yeah.
So it's one of those high variance removal cards that I think has an inclusion in a lot of decks, but I don't value it very highly.
Gotcha. Yeah. Cool. Let's take token.
Got a shiny back.
Yes. Thoughts here? Second Aerial Spotter versus second Curator Spear?
We have a Seeker, so Spear does make Seeker a little bit better. I know that Spear will potentially die at times. I can see the games playing out to where we have so much removal and we're killing so many of our opponent's units that Spear could potentially be just a win con late game,
right,
where you just take over the game and you're just
We're,
smacking them in
we're
the
playing
face with a
Armory
spear.
now.
Yeah, basically. Just 2-drop Armory. I don't think we would ever play our deck with 2 spotters.
Yeah.
So I think spear is probably just the pick.
Cool. Let's do that. Okay.
Okay.
Is there any reason you would take Bleak Base and Guido for Wagoneer?
No, and actually, I don't know if this is just from my personal experiences, but Bleak Basin Guide has been very bleak for me at times. I just play it on 3 and then I get smashed with like, 2 3 3s
Uh-huh.
for a couple turns and just die.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I am not high on Bleak Basin Guide by any means, but I don't think it's good enough to warrant us going outside of where we are right now. It looks like we're going to have a pretty streamlined 2-color deck, which I feel like is probably a pretty successful formula in this new format, while everybody else is messing around with 3 and 4 colors with less fixing than they used to have. So I think it makes sense to take Wagoneer.
Yeah, I agree.
The game just keeps giving us the same cards. Is there any reason to splash for Pitfall Trap here? Potentially. I mean, I know we only have Seek Power as a piece of fixing at the moment for it, or do you hedge on Courtier? I don't think any of these are great for us right here.
If I was drafting by myself, I would probably take eye for an eye and not think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I do think the idea of grabbing Pitfall Trap in case something crazy happens, because we have 2 Curator Spears and we have a Seeker,
Mm-hmm.
there's a chance the Pitfall Trap could make it into our deck.
Right.
But I also think that there's a chance Eye for an Eye could if we don't really see any more playables for the rest of the draft. So it's kind of up in the air in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll take the Eye for an Eye.
Okay.
I do like Pitfall Trap, but I mean, we haven't seen any other pieces that would say to us Primal might be open and you might have the opportunity to play this weird 3-faction deck. So I think taking just another removal spell, even if the second clause doesn't matter, is just a 1 cost more expensive Death Strike that's slow speed, which is not the worst thing in the world.
For sure.
All right.
And I do feel like a lot of the times you lose in this format is when your opponent plays a very large time unit.
Yeah.
And you can't deal with it.
Yep. Whole lot of nothing here for us. Rumbling Contraption. Okay. What are your thoughts here?
So this one's really interesting because none of them are snap picks.
Mm-hmm.
We've been having a lot of snap picks and it's been pretty nice. I feel like Display of Ambition is a splashable card.
Yep.
The other cards, Mob Rule isn't unplayable. It's awkward a lot of the time. Flickerling is also a fine 3-drop that could potentially take the place of Loyal Watchwing.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably take Display of Ambition because the power level of the other cards aren't high enough for me to want to just grab those up. But what about you?
Yeah, I think I'm in the same place. I think Display of Ambition, it kind of goes along with this super removal package thing we have going on. We actually, have a piece of fixing for it already, 2 pieces technically. So that's nice. And I agree 100% that Flickerling and Mob Rule are not cards that are auto inclusions. These are cards that you may end up cutting at the end of the day, and just what you can do with Display is unique. So I think it's worth taking.
I agree.
I mean, I would probably just take Steel-Eyed Pistolier. There's
it's a gunslinger. We don't really have any way to turn on the renown, but I think it's a great 3-drop though.
I totally I forgot we were even talking about gunslingers at this point, which is funny because I feel like I get really zoned in on that early on in the draft, and then sometimes I just kind of lose my way. But yeah, the fact that there's a 3/3 for 3 gunslinger seems like a no-brainer, just because I don't think we have enough to warrant a second Heirloom Seeker here.
Yeah, I agree.
You just take Bannerman for fixing.
I think Bannerman is a fine pick here.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing I was looking at was maybe Blaze, but we don't have, any scavenges in our deck or anything like that to warrant us really valuing this. I mean, I think it is good. It's another one of those interesting cards that can go face or an enemy unit instead. So, yeah, I think Bannerman makes the
Yeah,
most
if
sense.
if Bannerman wasn't in this pack, I would think about taking the Token of Honor just
Hmm.
because it fixes you to get your fire source you need for your little splash. But
Yep.
Bannerman does the same thing. So
Yep. And it's attached to a body, and we need bodies still. So,
yep,
ooh, I like Secret Passage a lot. How do you feel about this card?
I think it's one of the one mana relics that can just win a game.
Hmm.
Uh, I think it's very good because we have a Seeker, we have two Curator Spears. I think it's a very powerful effect. What's your opinion on Oni Samurai?
I really dislike this card. I was super high on it when it first came around. I was like excited. I was like, "Ooh, Oni Ronin 2.0, or I guess point 0.5, whatever however you
Uh,
want to think about it." And then I started playing with it, and I realized, especially in the last format where we had all those strangers, that you basically got one attack in with this guy, maybe two if
yeah.
you're lucky. And then he just sits there and does nothing. And it's sad because Oni Ronin was so great. So I see a lot of people play this card and it confuses me because I'm like, okay, I'll
Play my
like great, you,
2/2.
you can get a war cry and then I'll just block you with my 2/2 and
Yeah,
not care. It's a disappointing card, honestly. I want Oni Tribal to be a thing. Like I crafted early on when the set came
the
out.
Rakano one,
Yes,
the site.
yes. And I played it. I played it for a while. I mean, it's fun. Like it's just super high variance because it's all dependent on, if you're drawing your war cries or just like if you can get your Kyojins to survive basically. But
Yeah, I wonder what the story was with that, like during the design phase. That it was just like, all right, let's make the Rakano one completely unplayable. Why did they do that? Like they made all the other ones like kind of okay.
Yeah, I have no idea. Like, I remember when I first started, and I mean, I feel like this is almost everybody's experience when they first start playing Eternal, was Rakano was, one of the first decks that you probably played. And it just always, when I played that deck, it always felt like I had a chance to win, but now I don't. Now you have a different high roll potential with the deck, but I wish the site was a real thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like Rakano's strength was always that it could get on board and just smash you.
Hmm.
But now like Hailstorm, Harsh Rule, all the cards that gum up the ground, all the life steal, just an uphill battle to play fairly. So having a Rakano site alongside an aggro deck for Rakano, this in constructed, would be like pretty cool.
Right.
Like that's why when I play Rakano aggro on ladder, I play Auric Runehammer as my
Mm,
4 drop, just to have a threat that doesn't get hailstormed.
yeah, that's a good point. All right, let's take this secret passage. If this wasn't here, I'm probably taking like club, but secret passage is a good finisher.
Yep, I agree.
Oh, the dream is here. I don't think we take it though. I think we can just take
Oh,
token of vision or cargo, I guess. How do you value when you get two different sources of fixing, like a spell versus a token?
I've actually, I don't know if I've ever been in a situation similar to this,
Hmm.
but I do think I do just cargo is just a power.
Right.
That's how I look at it.
Hmm.
So basically, I would value cargo a little higher, I would think, just because of the synergy with spells.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we have any synergy with spells.
Yeah.
But they're very, very similar.
Yeah,
It's a
I
very
think so
weird
too.
pick.
Yeah, I wish we could take Hideaway, but without any primal fixing. And I'm not one to do like weird double splashes either. I kind of
Yeah.
am into like only splashing one direction. So yeah, let's take the cargo.
Okay. I'll have to think about that more. It's a very interesting pick. What do you think of Broken Wing Brawler?
I think it's like just a filler card. I haven't been super impressed with it. It is just a funny like interaction thing. If you do empower it twice, it does get Warcry too, so that's kind of cool. But I don't know. To me, paying 5 for a 3/3 that might depending on how your deck is constructed, can get in the air for some attacks. And at
Mhm.
that point in the game, sometimes they have something that's going to trade with your brawler in the air too. So I don't know. I'm not sold on this card. I don't think it's like great. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with all that. It's one of those last cards you'd slot into your deck. I think in this pack that Scavenge is a nice fixing card, and it has a lot of synergy with both of our Wagoneers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
That's exactly what I was looking at too, just because to get some more bodies out there for Wagoneer is just devastating. So,
yeah,
like, play Wagoneer on 3, play Scavenge on 4, follow it up with a power, and you've got a +6/+6 on him
yeah,
at the least. Like,
and
that's
that's
crazy.
if you didn't play a 2-drop.
Right.
Oh,
How many Wagoneers is too many Wagoneers? I feel like 3 might be too many, but
I don't
is
know.
it too late? Like, are we all in on this plan right now?
I think we are.
I mean, the
I,
other choice is Flickerling, right? Which has a lot less
yeah.
synergy for our deck.
Well, I just like we have 2 final shot rioters. Like
Hmm.
if we get out a Wagoneer and then gum up the ground with a rioter, there's a lot of like time where we can just
It's true.
hang out, build a board, start smashing with like multiple Wagoneers.
How is
It's a
Target Caller not a gunslinger? It's got Target Caller in the name,
I know, but it's throwing no, it has a bow or a spear.
It
What
looks
does it
like a
have?
spear.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Maybe it's the person shooting has a bow. The person
Uh,
calling the target, if they have a spear or what. But yeah, so we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This would make 8 gunslingers, so that's a pretty good number for us heading into
yeah.
pack 4. So yeah. I keep forgetting about that gunslinger text, so that's good. This is interesting. Do you take a second scavenge or do you just take token here?
I think because I think we're just like a combo deck at this point.
Yeah.
Like as if we can consistently go Wagoneer into Scavenge on 4, like our opponent's gonna have a hard time dealing with that combination of cards.
I mean, right. And then you think about secret passage on top of that to just like make one of these giant Wagoneers like game ending.
Yeah.
Like you only need a couple hits at that point to end the game. Cool that we have half a rally on display also. So
Oh, that's
having
true.
this like mini go wide thing going on is not bad for us either. So yeah, I like scavenge. Why not? We're all in. Easy token here.
Yeah.
Guess we take lost scroll, but probably not playing it.
No, probably not.
Are there any times when you really pause in your draft, or are most of the time you're just like pick, 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 pick?
I go way too fast. I go way too fast. I actually, funny thing is, I have the most success drafting while I'm on the stationary bike
Oh,
on my
interesting.
iPad. I don't know
Nice.
why, but I feel like I draft slower. I'm more analytical. If
Huh.
I'm like hanging out watching TV or something, I'm not like fully focused.
Yeah, fair.
So yeah, that's kind of how I draft. Is I do a lot of my drafts on a stationary bike after work.
Yeah, I think a long time ago I decided I was no longer going to draft on mobile just because it was a lot harder for me to keep track of things. But this was before they implemented this nice
Oh, that's so
change
nice.
as
Yeah,
far as the counts while you're in the middle of the draft, which is a huge quality of life buff. And most of the time I'm trying to record my drafts anyway, so I don't tend to draft on mobile these days, but
yeah.
all right, what are we thinking here? I mean, Steady Marshal is another gunslinger. Beyond that, we have like Civic Peacekeeper or Inspire Obedience, maybe Granite Acolyte. Don't know if it's really worth splashing though.
Yeah, I think all of these cards in this pack are not, based on the colors we're in, are not first pick worthy.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the synergy with our deck, I think I would take Steady Marshal.
Yeah.
Just because it's basically 2 power and it buffs Wagoneer, fills out our curve.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would probably take Marshal.
Cool. Yeah. I'm with you on that. I don't think there's any. That's immediately where my eye went, but I do love me some Granite Acolyte which has nice synergy with like Rooftop Vigilante and stuff like that, or any of the renowned stuff we potentially have going on, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's enough to get away from just playing another gunslinger.
Yeah, and we are pretty overloaded on 3 drops.
Yeah, true. Those 3 Wagoneers are clogging up our curve. Okay. Cabal Recruiter seems to make a lot of sense. I mean, at least with Secret Passage.
That's true. Yeah, I don't normally look at that card, but unless I have like ways to give it flying or evasion, and we do have Secret Passage.
And it's another way to just kind of gum up the board in the meantime.
Yeah, are there any other ways for us to like get it bigger or give it evasion or anything? I guess we just have a lot of removal.
Yeah, I mean that's
there are
the other thing I was gonna say is we just have like 5 to 6, maybe even 7 removal spells basically, which, taking the top unit off their deck just means it'll be longer for them to find another one, which is nice, but it is definitely a high variance card. I don't normally look at this, and Fencing Master just doesn't make sense for us, so that's kind of why my eye immediately went to Recruiter and was kind of excited because of Secret Passage. But, I mean, I think there's even argument to taking Rally here.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, do you think it's better to take Rally here?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, we only have 2 4-drops that are creatures, which is something to think about. Like, we don't really have... Oh, no, with 3.
Yeah.
So we don't really have a very, very much top end.
Yeah. So Rally could be a way for us to just finish the game.
Yeah. I'm wondering if, like, the way our games will play out is if, we don't get the tempo early and kill them, our late game isn't going to be able to hold up against a lot of decks.
Right. And the high variance of Cabal Recruiter wouldn't necessarily help that either.
Yeah.
It's not really slowing them down. Or maybe it is for like a turn or two, but eventually they just get to a 5 attack unit and it doesn't really do anything anymore.
Yeah.
All right, let's take Rally.
I like Rally.
Barricade? Do you ever play this card?
I've tried and I've never had, like, it's never been, like, the +8/+8 could be +4/+4 and it would still just work the same.
Yep.
Basically. Like, people, they fixate on the +8/+8.
Right.
Oh, I can make my unit so big, but in reality, it's just a niche combat trick that only happens when you're blocking.
Yeah, speaking of combat tricks, where are ours at? Like, where are the Finest Hours and the Victor's Warcry? The +5/+5 revenge one? I'm trying to think, is Barricade good for Aerial Spotter or, like one of our Renown cards? It's not good on Pistolier because you want to be aggressive with Pistolier's Renown.
Right.
I guess it's fine on Spotter, but is it just better to take Recruiter?
I think it's probably better to take Recruiter because a lot of times we're not going to be blocking.
Yeah.
Especially since we have like 2 scavenges and a bunch of aggressive like 1/1s that have to be attacking to be good.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool.
Oh, hi.
Alchemist, yeah?
It's a gunslinger.
It's a
and
gunslinger.
It's really, really good.
Yeah. I mean, Lifesteal, Revenge seems sweet. You could even kill it with Secret Passage so that it's unblockable when it comes back.
Oh, that's so good.
I want to live that dream.
Yeah, me too.
The other thing I'm looking at, I mean, I know it's kind of silly because we passed up one long ago, but Inspire Obedience with like this go wide sub theme is, I think, something to keep in mind. I think Alchemist is the clear choice here, but Inspire Obedience makes sense with what we're doing with our deck too.
Yeah, I agree.
Strength of Many also does, as does Cover of Darkness. My goodness.
The cards that jump out at me are the 3 bottom ones: Delinquent, Strength, and Cover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's
another gunslinger. I think Strength of Many is the slam pick, though.
Yeah, given what our plan is and how we're gonna win, I think it makes a lot of sense. I do like Cover as a great finisher, but Strength is a lot more versatile than Cover is, so I think it makes sense here.
Yeah, I agree. And like going like give Wagoneer unblockable attack, Strength of Many, just one-shot them.
Yeah. I'm getting kind of excited about this deck. Easy Banner over the Blood Beetle.
Yep.
we only are showing 16 units, but we have the 2 scavenges, so that's really like 18 units already. So
Yeah, I like that.
we don't need too many more. Could take militant. Would we ever play a second rally? Like
I think
it's
because we have the
display.
display, yeah, I
Mhm.
don't think we need a third rally.
Yeah.
I think militant like is a fine insurance card, I guess.
Yeah. And holy cow, like some good time cards coming through at the end.
Yeah, time is so good in this format.
Yeah. Hmm.
Wow.
That's a very
I
late Desert Marshal.
yeah.
But I guess we take Devour. We're probably not playing it, but I guess it is a
Uh,
way to like get some value off the scavenges when they're not doing anything.
I actually really like Devour in this deck, mostly because yeah, the scavengers and secret passage,
Yeah,
because you're
good
able to
point.
give it unblockable, then eat it
Yeah.
for
Ooh,
value.
I like that. Oh, yes. Easy final shot, right?
Yeah, this deck like built itself kind of. I know we discussed a lot,
Yes. We made this happen
but
though. It was our discussion that made it come to life.
and a lot of late gunslingers.
Yeah, holy cow. I mean, Triggerman, fine. We'll probably play it.
Even if it's never holding a weapon, we're going to be playing it for like 2 or 3 power.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Yeah, we have a lot of gunslingers. Ooh. I just take Banner here, yeah?
Probably,
For
yeah.
better fixing. We have 6 sources of fire already.
And I could see cutting some of the Valkyrie
Actually,
Militant. The
we have 8 sources of fire with
Yeah,
scavengers.
we're pretty overloaded on fixing,
So you
and
think just the Triggerman then?
I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't
No,
know.
I mean I agree. I think militant, even like aerial spotter, like a lot of these
Watchwing.
watchwing, yeah, all these cards are very replaceable, and the fact that it has the gunslinger word on it and just makes our synergies that much stronger. Yeah, I like it.
And now that we have like multiple rallies, like it's gonna eat stuff.
Yeah. Cool. This deck is going to be fun. All right, let's talk about some cuts here. We actually got a ton of playables. Like, holy cow. We have quite a few cuts to make here. And I
Yeah,
think the easy ones to start with are kind of the ones we talked about at the end, as far as like Watchwing. We can take out Memory Keeper also. Start with some of those. I think Spotter. You think Spotter can go, yeah?
yeah. We don't have enough ways to trigger.
Yeah. And then Militant can get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
We are really mono shadow, aren't we? So now you're at 17, 19 units if you count the scavenges.
Mm-hmm.
So you could probably cut one more. How many do you like tend to play, or do you have you don't really have a set rule, do you?
Not really. I'm really sad if I'm below 15 or 16 units.
Yeah.
Like really sad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Eternal Draft is very, very unit based. It's very hard to build a control deck with a lot of removal and stuff. You need the units.
I'm looking at this Heirloom Seeker. I think it's still fine. It's got Pledge on it too, so we'll come back to units, I think. I think we should look elsewhere before we get too much further there.
Okay.
Anything else sticking out to you at the moment as far as attachments or spells?
As of now, I think our weakest spells and attachments are I think shaving a Curator Spear could be a thing we'd look at, especially if we're not playing Heirloom Seeker.
Yeah,
I
true.
think shaving Eye for an Eye could be
Mm-hmm.
something we would look at. And then Parendon Cargo is something that I would potentially think about, but maybe not. I guess it's just a seek power that doesn't hit fire.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just
Um,
Argenport Fixer, I guess.
yeah, yeah. So we would probably be playing 16 actual power sources and the cargo and the seek power.
Do you even think we need that many? I think if we cut, like, couldn't we just play 15 power and this makes 17?
Oh, I guess yeah, and we do have a lot of pledge.
Yeah, we have a ton of
A
pledge.
ton of pledge, yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And our curve is very, very low.
Yeah. So I think we could go just straight 15 power here.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, this deck is really interesting.
It is.
So last cut,
So we shaved the spear, but we didn't shave the seeker. Were we going to do that?
Yeah, I think we totally can. I'm just looking at ones and twos here. That puts us down to 4. Is that too few? I guess that's my question.
I would consider probably not since we have spear,
Hmm.
but I would consider cutting the seeker and adding the spear back. Maybe I don't know. That is a low amount of 2 drops for being an aggro deck.
Yeah, but we're not really an aggro deck. We're a combo deck. I think that's my biggest concern with cutting Seeker is just if we don't hit our magical curve, then things can fall apart very quickly, but maybe that's just true regardless. I mean, I don't really want to get rid of any of the spells. The only one that sticks out to me as odd is Devour, just because. But I guess if you're thinking about yourself as a combo deck, it helps you find those combo pieces, so to speak.
Yeah, I value a devour pretty high, but I don't know. I could be completely wrong. Especially like you just hold it up and they try to remove your unit and you devour in response.
Yeah, it's a lot of value.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I'm
At
willing to
this,
just take out the Seeker and go with it.
okay. I mean, yeah. With scavenge, that's 18 units
Hmm.
basically,
Yep.
and I think our 3 drops are strong enough to be able to like if we're on the play and our first play is a 3 drop, I think we can still win the game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Because of the removal that we have and the inevitability with like rally and our tokens and stuff.
Yeah, and Secret Passage, yeah. I'm really interested to see how this Resilient Wagoneer works out. So let's get the special power added back. 1, 2. Oh,
I
yeah,
believe
there it
so.
is.
Oh
Token
yeah,
lock.
yeah.
And then we'll add the rest of the power. And for once, the power algorithm worked. Only gave me 1
Weird.
fire sigil.
Usually it's like 3.
I know, right? Like every single time. It's like, oh my god, your fixing is insane. This seems like a lot of shadow, but I guess we are super shadow heavy. 12 shadow and then 9 justice. I guess that
Yeah,
seems fine.
I think it actually did it correctly, especially since you have cargo, seek, and bannerman to get your first justice.
And let's see, we need double justice and double shadow, right? Double justice for glaive and then double
Yeah,
shadow for death strike.
and the 2 drop.
Oh, and scavenge is more justice sources too. So that's a
Yeah, for
lot of
sure.
that's that's like 11 justice sources really. Okay. Yeah, this makes sense.
Cool. I like it a lot.
I think this deck's going to be super interesting. It's going to be really fun and ridiculous when it goes off with these Wagoneers, and I think it has the potential to feel really bad when it doesn't. I'm really hoping for Magical Christmas Land like Wagoneer, Scavenge, Secret Passage shenanigans. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Any closing thoughts on the deck or anything that you're worried about or excited
Yeah,
about?
I think the worry is you on the and that your opponent goes like 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, and you're
Hmm.
playing a Wagoneer on 3 and then a Scavenge on 4, and
Yeah,
they're just smacking you and you can't block at all.
yeah.
So that's the biggest worry.
As far as our removal, I guess it's really just it's about slowing our opponents down long enough that we can just do our combo stuff basically. It's not like we need to save our removal for flyers. Yes, flyers can be a problem, but if we just have ginormous wagoneers, like I'm not really that worried about flyers. So,
Yeah, and I could see this deck playing a trigger man and just like throwing a glaive on it and
mhm.
not really caring about what your opponent's doing at the same time. So I
Yep.
think it does have some oomph to it.
Cool. All right, well, I think this is our deck.
Okay, sweet.
Just want to close out this drafting and deck building portion of the episode by saying thank you for being here. Really do appreciate it. I had a lot of fun drafting with Magikarp. I feel like there was a lot of good discussion to come out of this episode, and I'm super excited to see how this deck does. Don't forget, if you guys are enjoying the content, to subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can do so in the bottom right corner of this video. Also, I've included Magikarp's contact information as far as his Twitter, Twitch channel, and Team Rankstar website below so that you can find where he's creating his own Eternal content as well. Next, what will happen is we'll go into the games portion of the episode where you'll get to see all the games that Magikarp and I played together with this deck, and I hope to see you in the next video.